What's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay here to talk some Green Bay Packers as we're starting to press into the offseason. We got free agency around the corner. We're going to continue to dive into positions of needs as well as get into the draft a little bit. We're already getting our first calls for mock drafts, Tim. I don't know about you. It seems a little early.
Yeah, it's a little early.
But when the Patreon group does it, I'm going, man, they've really got me backed against the wall here. We may have to do one or two this week to give the people what they want. You know what I mean? But anyway, how you doing this morning, Bob?
Doing good. Got the jitter juice going, man. Ready to talk some ball. Ready to convince people to hold off on mock drafts, at least for a little while we figure out free agency first.
It's literally like Braveheart, right? Hold. We know it's going to happen, guys. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing them too. It's like not my favorite thing to do, but it is fun because I don't look at it like, hey, can we guess what the Packers are doing? I look at it like gathering information. Wow, this guy's available more often than not. And
Right.
Some people would do one mock draft and go, well, I got that guy with the 23rd pick. And knowing in real life, he's probably going to go in the top 10, right? So I think the more you do those, I think it's really good for that draft knowledge, So anyway, I know that we got the chat in here lit up. Appreciate everybody making us part of your morning. Nick McSwain says, made a comment about Love needing a wide receiver to bail him out yesterday. Matt LaFleur's comments kind of highlight what I meant. Wide receivers messing up with their routes hurts Love's progression, in my opinion. Needs someone who can pick up the slack. Love is still getting his legs under him. You can't go wrong having a veteran in the room. There's no doubt about that, Nick. But the issue is, are you willing to overpay to get a veteran in there? That's the thing that I don't think Goody's willing to do. That's the thing I wouldn't be willing to do either. What I would want is that right deal. And man, I'm telling you, the hype train for Davante Adams is full steam ahead. I try to steer clear of this stuff because I don't want to look back and go, man, we wasted 3 shows talking about something that we knew wasn't going to happen. It's just fodder. And if you're doing a 3-hour morning show on sports radio or something, you need that feel. Tim, you know what I'm talking about. You got some experience, right? So with what we do, we want it to be very, very, very acute, right? Like just straight to the point, a ton of information so people feel like, man, that was worth my 45 minutes or hour and 20, whatever it was, to tune into the show. But when it comes to receiver, man, and this whole Davante Adams thing, man, we talked yesterday that the fact that he was on K Adams, up and Adams with K Adams, right? And yet last year she led the recruiting pretty much for Xavier McKinney to get to Green Bay, right? And people laughed and rolled their eyes, and it happened. It was like, man, she was all over that. She could tell that we could tell that X had told her something behind the scenes, like, hey, this is probably where I'm looking to go, because you found out later he was in communication with the Packers right off the bat early on, right? Yep. So you could tell that's where he wanted to go to meet back up with one of his recruiters and Derek Ansley, and probably like the fact that Jeff Hafley got hired in as well. So now Davante Adams is on there, and she asked Davante Adams, what do you think the Packers need? And he said, I think they need a veteran wide receiver. And you go, boy, that wasn't just that was just an accident. I said that. That's him putting a little bird call out there, right? Well, now you've got Xavier McKinney chiming in as he tweeted out, man, pull back up, talking to tag Tay Adams in that Up and Adams show. So it's starting to create a little bit of steam. When you talk about what Nick mentioned here, that Matt LaFleur is talking about the wide receivers making mistakes. I want to back up once again. These are mistakes that were being made when Rodgers was here, and Rodgers got raked over the coals for pointing out these guys aren't in the right spots, right? Could he be a better leader? Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. But the issue with this whole thing is like you have the same problems existing for 3 years now, right? 2 years at least. But I kind of throw the rookie year out the window. When you get into the third year, though, Tim, it's like, okay, if we're still making choice route mistakes, and we won't get into all the details of what that means, then it is hurting the quarterback. It's like the interception he threw to Zach Bond. I think LaFleur said I understood what he was trying to do there. But Tucker slipped coming out of the backfield. Still, though, you've got to have the post-snap awareness to go, my target ain't nowhere within 10 yards. I can't just throw it to where I think he should be, even though he's on the ground, right?
Right.
So you got to be a little bit better in that adjustment. But what do you think, man? We slept on it, right? the Tay Adams stock, and the hype train is, like I said, full steam ahead. Do you buy into it, or do you think it is just something that's most likely not going to happen?
I'm going to say it's possible, but not probable. That would probably be the best way to sum up what I'm thinking here. It's possible. I mean, we've seen a lot crazier things happen with guys returning to teams and contracts and things in the NFL. So it wouldn't completely surprise me if they pulled something off and got him back here, but I don't think it's like probable that it's going to happen. I also think there are a few other glaring needs on both sides of the ball that we need to take a look at. Your receiver being one of them, obviously, but like I said, I wonder where the money is going to come from for Tay and how long of a fix that really is, right? A couple more years, maybe he ends his career here. Okay, well, what's the plan after that? So
right.
I don't know. I think it's possible. I don't know if it's probable.
Yeah, so if you had to put a percentage, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, I'm thinking you're probably somewhere around 25%.
Yeah, I would say that 30, maybe 30%.
Yeah. I think I'm a little closer to 50-50 shot. And normally I'd be the dude going, no chance in hell, 5%. Give me 5%, right? But this just seems like something, I don't know. It seems a little different. I could be wrong. Jason Y, agreed, Nick. These wide receivers are not helping Love's development. I think we got a solid wide receiver core. I do. But if you're going to have a ton of choice routes built within your offense like Matt LaFleur does, you cannot have those mistakes. You just can't, And listen, again, Rodgers got raked over the coals that in 2022 when he said we need to simplify things. This is what he's talking about. This is it. When he says simplify things, the way you simplify an offense from a passing game standpoint is for the receivers to know exactly what route they're going to run, rather than post-snap them have to read and know if they do this, then I'm doing that. And if the quarterback and the receiver aren't on the same page, if they read it just a smidge off, that's where you get in. That's where you get into hesitation. We were kind of cooking Jordan Love. I don't want to say we. You can agree if you want to. We were kind of cooking him, going, man, he's not taking the underneath stuff. He's not taking the underneath stuff. Guys, full disclaimer, we don't know exactly what the play call is. There could be choice routes attached to every one of those, and Jordan expected them to do something else. He looks up, they're not in that spot on the side adjustment, and that's what makes it. That could be it too. It could be that Jordan just didn't read it. That's the part of football I think that's beautiful too, is we're never really going to know unless you're in that room. That's what makes it such a exciting thing, I believe. But
absolutely. We can just watch tape and try and dissect and, do a little investigating and come to our own conclusion. But you're right. We will never, ever really know, I guess, on any given play what they're really trying to do.
All right. And Jason Watt said, bad routes, inability to get open, no playmakers when he needs to lean on them, and drops. Yeah, the drops were an issue again this year. We go back to 2022. Aaron's accuracy was off, but he had a broken thumb on his throwing hand as well. And also his receivers led the league in drops that year. So it was kind of the tale of two halves of a season this year, Tim, where it's like the first half, things looked pretty good. And then when you got into that back quarter, it was like, boy, it seems like everything's catching up with them. So, but nonetheless, you win 11 games. You went out there. I felt like you competed with Philly, even though you fumbled the opening snap or the opening kickoff. I mean, it's hard to overcome that. Hearing Bill Belichick talk about that on the McAfee show, he was like, yeah, they didn't hardly stand a chance the whole day. When you fumble the opening kickoff, man.
Especially when you recover it yourself and you're down by contact and they still take the ball away from you.
That's even more deflating. Like, what the hell do we got to do to catch a break here?
Yep.
Yeah. So again, we've been pretty vocal all year long. At least I have, about where are these receivers at? I think we've got several number 2 receivers. We don't have that receiver that tilts the coverage. But now you immediately, okay, well, let's go get him, right? Who is that guy? I'm sorry, it's not T. Higgins. The coverage was tilted away from T. Higgins to Jamar Chase all year. So he wasn't that dude on that team. Could he be that guy on the Packers? It's possible. But the other thing is you've got other holes you've got to fill. You don't know who's your center is going to be. You don't know who your 3-tech's going to be of the future, right? Like, you got to go find that 3-tech. It's that important. Cornerback, we don't know if Ja's going to be here. So to just go empty the clip into let's go get a big name wide receiver and pay him $30 million per, man, that is really, really careless in my opinion. And again, it's just the way I see it. I could be wrong. the Davante Adams thing, the number I keep coming up with in my head, Tim, is $10 million. If you can get him on the cap for $10 million, make it happen. Now, here's the thing. With that $30-some million salary, what most teams who are going to be in the market for trading for Davante Adams would do is they would plan on trading for him, tacking on voidable years, converting it to signing bonus, a good portion of it, and spreading it out over those 3 years. So the Packers could do that if you're okay with them kicking $20 million down the road, and then potentially bringing him back. If you don't, that accelerates to the new year. And the year that accelerates to, guess what? That's the year you got to pay Zach Tom. That's the year you got to decide on these other receivers, all those things. So the only answer I keep coming up with Tay, if it's going to work, is he's got to be willing to take a pretty good pay cut. Take that money that's not guaranteed, that 30+ million, and say, hey, we'll give you $12 million fully guaranteed for 1 year, and then you can hit free agency again next year. He might be willing to do that because that's a signing bonus check as opposed to testing free agency. If the market's down, he has to take something with less guarantee. That could be an option, I guess. But anyway, just wanted to hit that because it continued to crank up last night on social media. It's like as soon as it started to die down, I'm thinking this is probably just a pipe dream. Then X jumped right in the conversation like, "Yay, come on over. Let's see this." So,
is less than likely as I think a Davante Adams return is. I do think there's probably a better chance that we make a move with him than T. Higgins, just for those reasons right there. I mean, when you're at that veteran stage, where you're at, how old is Tay now? 30, something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so you've got gas left in the tank, but you also know, not for long, right? NFL. So I don't think the guaranteed money is much of an issue for a guy like Tay Adams as it is for a guy like T. Higgins. T. Higgins is going to want the bag and probably isn't going to give out discounts. I think a guy like Tay just might do that for a shot to go compete for a title.
And just so you know, Tim, he's 32. He'll be 33.
32. Okay.
So yeah, that drop off could happen this year, guys. We could pull the trigger on this, and he may come out and he be done halfway through the season. Go, nope, he's done. He's lost his legs. That could happen, right? So that's why the T. Higgins conversation is, from an age standpoint, makes a lot more sense than Davante. It's just, do the dollars and cents make that, and is he going to be the same player without Jamar Chase on the opposite side, drawing coverage away from him, right? Which let's be honest, he graded out really, really high PFF wise, but it's not like he's been putting up huge numbers having that coverage rolled away from him, right?
Right.
So, keep that in mind too. So anyway, there is your Davante Adams update talk here this morning. Let's go to the chat. Cody in the chat. Appreciate you, Cody. He says, call me crazy, but I think give Jaire one more year, just restructure his contract if he accepts it. We can't ignore the inexperience at the cornerback position, like we talk about the inexperience in the wide receiver room. It's so true. It's so true. If I've seen people say, you let Stokes walk. I agree with that, right? I've seen people say trade away. Someone had mentioned, I can't remember where I seen it, but there was multiple people that mentioned it. Trade away Jaire Alexander and Keyshawn Nixon. It's like, okay, Bub, you don't have anything left in the cornerback. Carrington Valentine can't play both sides of the field. You know what I'm saying, Tim? So that's I like what Cody's saying here. I told you guys from the beginning, I would go to him, Tim. I would go to Jaire and go, hey, here's the deal, man. We want to convert some of that to signing bonus. It's got to be very cap friendly for us to bring you back next year, and you're going to get more guaranteed money. What do you think? And if he bucks on that, all right, go find your best offer. That's the way
that's what I think would happen too. That's exactly how that scenario would probably play out. I mean, it just looks like he doesn't want to be here, and I don't want anyone that doesn't want to be here on my team, right? Like, right. Who would, right? And that this is coming from probably the biggest Jaire apologist that ever existed. Like I am like literally dude's number one fan. But the vibe is that it seems like it's over. And reaching out for a restructure is great. I think it's part of the business. You have to do that. I don't think you just forego that action. But I really don't see Ja wanting to work with the team to stay a Packer. I don't.
Yeah. Definitely. We got Mrs. Green in the house says Jaire may have experience, which is great, but his attitude is too unpredictable. That's something that's been proven. That's a fact. Joseph, the real problem is his attitude and lack of availability. Amen to that. Yeah. If you can't, there's no way of going, he's going to play in 15 games this year. Right. And to me, it's negligence on Goody's part if he does not factor that into the amount of money we're willing to set up for him to make in 25 if, precedent suggests this dude ain't going to be around for 50% of the snaps. It's just not a good investment, obviously. So, Josh Martin, Jaire's a future Viking.
Ugh.
That'd be hilarious, right? Tim just threw up on his laptop there. Let's see. There was something else I was going to hit. Maybe it's already left me. Anyway, appreciate everybody in the chat, man. Y'all got this thing lit up. If you would hit that like button for us, feel free to sub to the channel. Thank y'all for making us a part of your morning. This right here will perk you up. I said hang the banner, Tim. Historic. The Minnesota Vikings are the first 14-win team in NFL history to lose in the wild card round. So hang the banner, boys. Congratulations, Vikings. You were frauds again this year, right? So
can you imagine being that fan? Like I'm the one they took for the viral photo of the pain of my franchise. Poor guy. This lady doesn't look very happy either. She's like, man, is this going to be a long car ride home with this guy?
What you can't see out of the picture, she's got her phone in her hand, Tim, and I guarantee you she's got a picture of a Green Bay Packer. Gee, she's searching for Packer merch right now, right? And he has no idea what's going on right there.
I love it.
Anyway, hang the banner for the Vikings. Poor guys and gals over there in Minneapolis. Here's another one as the memes continue to roll out. Jeff Janis evidently cooked. Here, you remember Jeff Janis, don't you, Tim? You had his jersey, didn't you?
I did not. No, I did not. I had a Jared Abbrederis jersey, though.
Did you really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. So Caden Sanilla, I think is how you say his name, at Caden Sunila on Twitter. Go give him a follow. Great follow. Posts awesome stuff from the seats at Lambeau all the time. He's just an awesome follow on Packers Twitter. Jeff Janis absolutely cooked with his most recent Instagram story. So he did a side-by-side shot. Justin Jefferson and Jeff Janis playoff stats. Jefferson, 12 catches, 105 yards, no touchdowns. Jeff Janis, 7 catches, 145 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So thought it was hilarious that Jeff Janis thought, you know what, let me go flex on this guy real quick. So that's the thing about that number one receiver we keep talking about. Everybody in the chat, right? We're all guilty. It's like, man, you need that guy. You need that guy. You need that guy. It did not help Minnesota. They hit a buzzsaw. Why? Because they got their ass kicked in the trenches. That's why it's important to remove the emotion. I think someone said it earlier in the chat. Stick with the needs. Don't let your needs be swayed by, oh, now this player is available. Oh, now this player, you've got to remove all the emotion and stick to the modeling of your roster. That's Bill Walsh 101. You've got to model your roster before you spend the money. No, here are the holes. Here's the most important holes in the roster. And we want to make sure we're not overpaying for good. We're only overpaying for great. And make sure that you've got those tier one positions of importance filled. And again, tier one to me is on offense, left tackle and quarterback. And on defense, it's 3-tech and edge defender. Okay. I feel like we've got the edge defender in Rashawn Gary. Now, if you want to go get Max Crosby, I'm not going to throw a fit. I just hope that they allow themselves to get a 3-tech in the process as well. And we're going to talk about that here in a second, because deep diving into where the strengths are every offseason when it comes to our needed positions, right? Our positions of needs, I should say. We're saying defensive tackle, we're saying center, and most likely cornerback, because Jaire may be gone. If Jaire is gone, cornerback, I wouldn't say it leapfrog center, but it's got to be really close to being right there.
If Jaire stays, we still need a corner.
You still need, if Jaire stays, your starting corners would be Jaire, right? If he's healthy. I was going to say that. It'd be Jaire on the outside, Keyshawn on the outside, Javon Bullard in the slot.
And then CV's your backup.
Yeah, exactly.
But then who? And then who?
Right. But now think about this, though. If we're going to put corner, and I'm not saying you're saying this, I'm just kind of thinking out loud. If you're putting corner over center, do the center position now.
Well, I'm not putting corner over center.
Right.
I wouldn't even put corner over receiver at this point.
No.
There.
Yeah, receivers below corner for me right now. The order I have it right now, me personally, and this could change week to week, me being the emotional fan that I am, I've got 3-tech, center, corner, then receiver. And there's probably going to be some other needs we'll fill in to fill out the roster. Typically, you get out of those top 3 needs, you're filling in for the roster. So why is defensive tackle and center at the top? Defensive tackle, that 3-tech, tier 1 of importance. and then center is tier 2, in my opinion. And it's something we've neglected for quite some time. I say neglected. We drafted a second-round pick. It just didn't work out, right? Creed Humphrey.
The one that got away.
And listen, we joke about that all the time. We mention it, and it does look really, really bad on Goody's part. But let's not kid ourselves into thinking on draft day in the second round, there were a bunch of Packer fans going, you better take Creed Humphrey over Josh Myers. Nobody was saying that.
Right.
Hindsight being 2020, obviously he was a much, much better center. That's part of the draft, right? So, all right, let's see here. As we dive into some of these needs, let me make sure there's nothing else we wanted to hit on Twitter. We were just having a little fun here. What I'm going to do, Tim, I'm going to comb through the tweets that I've got for these positions of needs, and then I'm ready to share the screen for any of these pages that you may not be able to see well. And let's just start to dive into it. We were talking about defensive tackle, right? So this tweet I put out said, the defensive tackle position for the Green Bay Packers were among the bottom of the league in pressure percentage, run stops, and PFF grades. Here are the D tackles for this year's draft that land in the top 100 along with their PFF grades, okay? We kind of talked about them last night. We don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but we just want to show where is the strength. Is it in free agency or is it in the draft? With the draft, you've got Mason Graham, number 4 overall, Kenneth Grant, number 19 overall, Tyleik Williams, 25 overall, TJ Sanders, 33 overall, Walter Nolan, 34 overall. And then on the next page, you've got number 50 overall, Omar Norman Lott, number 65 overall, Alfred Collins, number 73 overall, Deion Walker, and number 83 overall, Derek Harmon. So essentially what you've got, Tim, is 4 on that page, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that. So you've got 9 defensive tackles within the top 100. Mason Graham's probably going to be gone before you pick. Tyleik Williams may be too, depending on how well he plays in the national championship. Tune into that game on Monday night because if he blows up, watch his draft stock's going to skyrocket. Him playing in the biggest game of the year and him playing well could be huge. I hope it doesn't happen against my Irish, but, man, that dude's a dog. So you've got 9 to choose from there, Tim. When we talked free agents, we only came up with 4 that we thought were decent. Milton Williams, 70.4 PFF grade. He's from Philly. Sebastian Joseph Day, 70.3 from Tennessee. B.J. Hill, 70.2 from Cincy. And then Levi Oza. I can never say it. Ozaruke? Is that Ozarike? I think it's Ozarike is how Emilio.
Who?
69.4 from Detroit. All right. So you've got 4 in free agency that we look at from a PFF standpoint, and we can cross-check these with tape if we need to as the offseason goes along. But you've only got 4 there, and then within the top 100, you've got 9 as rookies. And their PFF grades just in order of their draft status, their draft positioning. 90.9, 82.7, 79.6, 82.0, 88.3, 69.4, 87.2, 72.2, and 83.6. Now, will that translate to the NFL? That's the big question. So, D tackle, man, the blueprint is suggesting, Tim, you're going to have to try to find that 3 tech in the draft. He's not
Deion Walker, you are a Green Bay Packer. Let's go. Book it.
You know how excited I'd be for that, man.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Awesome. The big one that sticks out to me is Tyleik Williams. If somehow, some way he's there, he sticks out. And there's if we just went strictly off PFF grade, Mason Graham's dominant. I think he'll be gone. I think he'll be the first D tackle taken off the board. If Kenneth Grant falls, he at 82.7, he played at Michigan alongside Mason Graham. You got to be careful, right? Like we got the better of the pass rushers from Michigan the year that Chase Winovich and Rashawn Gary came out. Chase Winovich, I think, is out of the league. Rashawn Gary is, still in the league, still a starter, one of the highest paid, right? Led the Packers in every important statistical category from a pass rush standpoint. And also was a great run defender this year. That was the thing that really – it was nice to hear Hafley talk about that too in his presser because it's like we seen it on the tape. We mention it every week. And then you look up and go, damn, he's crushing it in run stops. And then Hafley recognizing it. That's how you know you're on the right track. So there you go, man. That's the blueprint. That's kind of the outlook, I should say, for defensive tackle. Probably going to have to do it through the draft. Listen, I'd be okay with signing one of these guys, Milton Williams, Sebastian Joseph Day, B.J. Hill, or Ozarike for the right price. But what we're looking for is that dominant 3 tech of the future. And that's why Christian Wilkins, being a free agent last year, I think he signed with the Raiders. That's why that's so rare, is because if a team's got him, they're not going to let him go. Because like Michael Lombardi and Bill Belichick say, everybody thinks they got a 3-tech, and hardly anybody does.
They don't grow on trees, man. They're tough to come by.
Anything else you want to add to the defensive tackle talk? Let me make sure the next tweet was not about that. It was not. We'll move on to center next if you want. But
yeah, go Irish. Go Irish. I hope Ohio State craps the bed and Mr. Williams' stock plummets a little bit. Might give us a shot. Otherwise, we take our boy from Kentucky, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Deion Walker. Let's go.
Andy Walker says, Deion Walker. I don't know if he's asking, like, why would we do that? Deion was projected as the top defensive tackle going into this season. And listen, him having a down year, that's not a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But you want to kind of walk back and look at, like, Jaden Reed's a good example. He didn't have a great year his last year in college, right? He comes out. You could tell Goody went back a year and prior, and I've really added a different element to my draft board because of that very reason. Jaden Reed pops. Everybody going, where the hell did this guy come from? If you'd went back 1 year, you've seen it, right? So that's why Tim is mentioning Deion Walker, and so am I. If he truly does fall to 73, right, or around that range, if you can get him in the second round, boy, and you get the Deion Walker of 2023 as opposed to 24. Here's the other thing. You guys know I'm a Kentucky fan, so I got a little bit behind baseball approach to this. Mm-hmm. Kentucky's defense was hot garbage this year, and I'm telling you, it wasn't because of Deion Walker. Right. You could see him flash and everything around it was falling apart, and it was like, holy cow, man. There's a linebacker on that defense too. His name escapes me right now because we're not really too tuned up on linebacker. But anyway, there's your defensive tackle talk. Let's move on to center, I think, is the next tweet here, Tim. I said Green Bay Packers center Josh Myers is set to test the free agent market. Here are the top center free agents along with true centers in this year's rookie class along with their PFF grade. So I want to mention it's going to look very, very thin in the draft, but there's going to be interior offensive linemen who make the case on their little campaign trail to the combine saying, I can play center, I can play center. So you're going to have some guards, I believe, that are going to emerge as, hey, they'll draft him as a guard, but he's going to play center. So keep an eye on that. I just wanted to knock the true centers out first, okay? So here's the list. We won't go through the entire thing, but just to kind of give you an idea, these are the free agent centers, the guys that are set to hit free agency here, and I've got them wrote down in order of PFF grade as well. You'll notice Josh Myers on this list, according to Spot Track, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, and that's based simply off of this previous average annual value. Okay, that's the only way this is sorted. It doesn't mean this is the order in which these guys are good or bad. It's just that's the money they've been paid up to this point. Okay?
Positive news for Josh too. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So good for him, man. Hopefully, things shake out for him moving forward. I'm glad it wasn't major.
Yeah, and here's the thing, man. You guys know where I stand here. I don't want Josh Myers back as center. I don't think he's the answer. That doesn't mean Goody doesn't think that. Don't be surprised if they re-sign him, right? That could happen because it's obvious they liked him. I mean, we heard him all year long talking about how he's playing the best football he's ever played. We all went, huh? But he had flashes for sure, and it did seem to get a little better as the year went on. The other thing, he's a locker room guy. His teammates love him. So
and he's 27, right? He'll be 27 next year.
Yeah. So of this list right here, in terms of PFF grade, all right, Drew Dalman from Atlanta, 78.8. All right. He's the highest graded center that's set to hit free agency. Next is Tristan Coleman Castillo from Arizona at a 71.0. He's actually a guard on PFF. He played his snaps mostly at guard, but they've got him listed as a center, so he must have center experience. Next would be Ryan Kelly from Indianapolis at 67.0. He's 31 years old, though. Okay, so you pretty much cross him off the list.
Goody DiCaprio ain't going for that. Sorry.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think back to before Goody was here and they signed Jeff Saturday. If they look back and go, did that work? No, that did not work. They had him benched by the end of the year, right?
Yep.
So next is Coleman Shelton, 66.4 from Chicago. He's 29 years old. Probably a little too old there too. Doubt they would take a swing on that. Brock Hoffman, 66.3 from Dallas. He's also a guard that's listed on the center list, like he has experience playing center. So keep that in mind there. Guys, what you got here, the one that sticks out the most is Drew Dalman, or Dalman, however you say his name. I did not write down his age. Let me get that information for y'all real quick. Drew Dalman. Let's see how old he is, because I want to say he's not 30, but he definitely isn't like 25, Let's see, Drew Dalman. Let's go age. I apologize for this. 26 years old, Tim, right there in the wheelhouse. So if there's a center on the market, you say, Clayton, who would you like them to go get? It's that dude in Atlanta. Thoughts on that, Tim, in terms of the free agents? Again, what we're coming up with is the limit, or where I did the cutoff, Tim, was 65 and above for PFF. All right. So it's not like we're just taking these are the very best guys. We're extending it a little bit because who knows? Maybe Goody had a high draft grade on some of these guys, and he thinks he could get more out of them. That could be the case as well. What do you think about those names there? Drew Dalman seems like Drew Dalman or Tristan Coleman Castillo are the two that really stick out at 78.8 and 71.0.
Yeah, I was going to say either that or Josh. Like really looking at this list, So I guess it's a little bit more promising than the free agents at defensive tackle that we looked at, but not by much. I think we need to consider draft options. I thought there was I starred one in the chat there. We had a good question. I believe it was J. Cole. Yeah, do we go guard in the draft and then kick Sean Ryan to center or kick Elton Jenkins to center, which would really piss me off. But it has been discussed. It has been discussed, and it is an option. We know Elton's one of those guys, kind of like Zach Tom, that could probably play anywhere on that offensive line if we really needed him to. We've seen Big E at center before. I prefer him as a guard, but I think it's a good question. What do you think, Clay? Do we draft another guard? I'm
going to answer it this way for you, Tim. You ready for this?
Uh-oh.
Here are the centers in the draft. Look at this. 142, 158, 168, 253. Yeah, there's a chance we draft a guard. Try to play center. That's hot garbage, right? Some of the PFF grades ain't horrible. Like, you've got and it doesn't mean you don't take a swing on one of these guys a little later in the draft. We're simply talking about if you're going to do it in the first 3 rounds, right? You're really going to make an effort to go fill these positions early.
Yeah.
Jonah Monheim, 70.7, 75.9, 81.9. That's going backwards. So he's actually regressed every year according to PFF, but 70.7, not a bad grade. He's shown the ceiling is 81.9. Center at Ohio State. We know we like our Ohio State centers, right? Yeah. Seth McLaughlin, 70.7 this past year. He's 158. Jake Majors at 168. His PFF grade was a 72.7. And then Cooper Mays from Tennessee, all the way down to 253. His PFF grade was a 68.8. So, yeah, I think
Majors is the only one on the list who's improved.
Yeah,
from 22 to 24, snaps have gone up and the grade has gone up. So if we're going to maybe put a star on somebody, maybe that guy could be a late rounder, mid to late round addition, possibly. But I see what you're saying, Clay. It's slim pickings in the draft here if we're talking true center, right?
Yeah, definitely. And just so you guys know what I'm looking at, I'm creating a cheat sheet as we go along. Okay, you can see this. So positions of need, the green are the future draft picks, right? And then the black are the free agents with their PFF grades next to it. So we'll have quick reference as we go through the year. Anyone who's less than 65 that doesn't show a history of being elite in the NFL, we're going to just kind of cancel them out. To give you an example on cornerbacks, when we get to that point, there's 3 corners that graded out absolute cheeks this year, but past they've been excellent. So
you know how we feel about that 65 in Green Bay, right?
65%.
65%. That's what exactly. So if you do this is just how my mind fires. And I know coaches see it the same way. That's why you see Gruden writing on the grease board all the time. Lombardi always talks about the grease board. If you do things in color code, stuff pops out to you, right? So what you see here right off the bat, I learned this studying coaching basically, or roster management. When you see all those greens, that tells you, okay, we're thick in the draft at that position. Now notice center. There's no 100 player.
There's no green at all.
So now you got to shift and go, okay, boys, here's the thing. If the market's oversaturated, the price is driven down. If there's a scarcity in a product, good, or service, and in this case, an NFL caliber player, the price gets driven up. So if everyone's looking at the draft and going, man, this ain't a good center class, guess what's going to happen to Drew Dalman and Tristan Coleman Castillo? price is going to be driven up.
Yep.
So got to take that into consideration too, because we will overpay for good. We won't overpay for great, right? So there is your center position. Supply and demand.
Wolfman saying supply and demand, baby. It's true. They go hand in hand.
That should be the first thing that's taught at the freshman level in high school is, hey, let me explain to you how the entire globe of this big ball of mud works. All right. Supply and demand. If you understand supply and demand, you will not take offense to 90% of the stuff that happens in your life. I'm just telling you. That's how decisions are made. It took me forever to realize that, but I'm telling you it's true. All right, let me go back now. So we talked center a little bit there, kind of give you guys an idea of the market as well as the draft class. Okay, now let's move on to cornerback, and we'll get a little bit of this talk in. I haven't got to the rookie class yet. We'll probably we'll hit that.
That's with defensive tackle.
Right, we'll hit that tonight. By tonight's show, I'll add the rookies onto the cheat sheet, and we'll talk about them. Okay, so here's what we got in terms of free agency. I put a tweet out with Jaire Alexander's future uncertain in Green Bay. Here are the top cornerbacks set to hit free agency, barring any tags. We're talking transition tags, franchise tags, all that good stuff, right? Some of these players will not be available. I would just about guarantee it. The other thing is they can get re-signed by their team right before the market opens. Typically, when you get to this point, it's more likely than not that they go to the market, right? Because, hey, the team, they couldn't come to an agreement with the extension. Let's see what you're worth. Bring your best offer back type approach, right? So here are the names on that list. And I've got them, they're ranked here according to PFF's free agent list. They don't have the complete list yet, so you just got like the top 30 or top 50 or whatever. So here, when the number I read off for those of you on the pod for this player, it's telling you where they're ranked on the free agent list, okay? DJ Reed is 6th. Charvarius Ward is 13th. Rasul Douglas is 15th. And then you've got Carlton Davis III is 21st. Asante Samuel Jr. is 26th. Byron Murphy Jr. is 33rd. And Mike Hilton is 35th. All right. So those are kind of your top corners going into free agency according to PFF. Now, let me give you some key statistics on these guys real quick. At the top of the list in terms of PFF grade, it's Hilton, right? Mike Hilton, I think is his name. Notice he's not on this list, right? Was he? I didn't read him off, did I, Tim? Nope. Okay, so yeah, there he is. He's 35th. So Mike Hilton on this list, 75.9 is his PFF grade. Okay. He was in Cincinnati. The problem, Tim, he's 31 years old.
I was just going to say,
yep,
he's out.
That's a big issue.
Yeah.
Right. I listed him because if you crack 75, really, if anybody's above 65, I'm going to put him on here. And not 65 years of age. We would never do that. I'm talking about above 65 PFF grade. We're going to put them on the list, but I'm going to highlight again in the red to the left column. Here's their age. That's a little concerning. All right. Carlton Davis from Detroit, 74.5. All right. So his PFF grade was a 74.5 for Carlton Davis. He's 28 years old. If it's 29 or above, I'm marking it red. So if it's, under that, I think you sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal. You ain't got to worry about him hitting that 30-year-old wall. You can get out of the contract if you need to, right? So Carlton Davis, 74.5. Byron Murphy from Minnesota, 73.4. DJ Reed, 70.7. He played with the Jets. And now you're getting into three interesting ones here, Tim. Asante Samuels Jr., right? Asante Samuel Jr. right here on the screen that you're seeing. Here's the thing that's interesting about him. His PFF grade this year, guys, 59.3.
Whoa.
Absolute cheats. But last year, his PFF grade was a 73.9. And I think the year before, it was a 72.6. So it's like one of these don't belong, right? Plus, he played far fewer snaps this year. So you would
shoulder injury.
Yeah. You'd probably think closer to a 73. Now, Tim, you said the magic word. If it is a shoulder injury, right? Do y'all remember a cornerback that was great before a shoulder injury in Green Bay?
Yeah, the guy that's going to be on another team next year. Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Got to be aware of that stuff, right? It's just, it doesn't mean you make the decision based solely off that. It just simply means put that in your notes. Right?
It's also like the write-up says, though, too. But, I mean, his youth, pedigree, and experience are appealing. Let's be real. I mean, look at the tape on him. But, yeah, that's a huge question mark with that injury because you don't know if that, that decline in play is going to continue or not going forward. Be kind of a gamble, but yeah, I mean, he's only going to be 26. I don't know. It is tempting, especially if you can get him on a sweetheart deal because of the injury. I don't know.
Yeah. Donovan Schilling says, what kickers are in the draft? And the chat's roasted. Chat, you guys take care of that. I don't have time to deal with this crap.
You got time for that, man.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Next on the list that was interesting is Charvarius Ward. If we go back to page 1.
Here's the guy.
He's 13th overall, according to the free agent list, that PFF has cooked up so far. His PFF grade this year, Tim, 56.2, right?
Injury as well, right?
Yeah. Now, he played 800 snaps, so it's not like a 200-snap saturation like we've seen with Samuel, right? So it's like if you get above 500 snaps, I feel confident that's the player you were. You know what I mean? If you get above 100, I feel pretty good, to be honest with you. But the more snaps, the better in terms of is that an accurate depiction of how well that player may or may not have played that particular year. 873, good sample size. But again, 58.7 is that what it is? Or let's see here. No. Yeah,
56.2.
56.2 is so small I can't read it.
I got the camera killed because my face is 2 inches from the screen right now.
56.2. All right. But last year, 84.7 in San Fran. So you go, okay, he just had a down year, right? Possible, but guys, he's 29 years old. This could be the wall, right? This could be the wall coming.
And it could also be a scenario where we're not going to offer him more than a 1 or 2 year deal, and he may not look to sign something like that. I would think he's probably looking, rolling into 29 years old, he's probably looking to sign that last contract or second to last contract, and he probably wants 3 or more years.
Yeah, I could see that too. And then last on our list is Rasul Douglas. 58.7. Okay, he should have been above Charvarius Ward in current PFF grade, but the year before, 81.0. So keep in mind, Rasul played 873 snaps this year, so it was a decent sample size, right? The year before, 2022, it was a 71, and then he jumped to an 81 when he went to Buffalo, right? And then it dropped down this year to a 58. Now, is that the wall? Because he's 30 years old, right?
Right.
So those are your top cornerback free agents in terms of PFF grades, all right? So, or PFF's ranking. What we're going to do tonight, I'm going to jump into the draft room and try to look through the draft prospects and see, okay, who sticks out in the draft. What I think we're going to see, Tim, is much like the defensive tackle market, you're going to see, we've seen basically four or five corners. We go, hey, we'd probably take a shot on them if the price is right. But in the draft, you're going to see a ton of them. So it's feeling like you're going to look to draft a 3-tech and you're going to look to draft a corner, and probably you've either got the center of the future on your roster right now, whether someone thinks it's Jake Monk or someone thinks it's Elton Jenkins. You probably got the center already in the room, unless you go after like a Drew Dowman or a Tristan Coleman Castillo, or Goody pisses us all off and says, hey, Josh Myers is coming back at $9 million per. You know what I mean? So just something to keep in mind there. Thoughts on all that, man, as we get ready to wrap up here?
Of these free agent corners, I think you're right. There's probably a handful that we'd probably want to look at. And I don't think that's a bad look. If we can, snag a pseudo veteran kind of corner and then draft one, we might be in good shape depending on how things shake up. But I see Jen Wright in the chat. Would Rasul even want to come back? Hey, I mean, who knows what the vibe was when we did the trade, right?
Right.
We were kind of shocked by that at the time, and I don't know, but I do know money talks. BS runs the marathon, right? So I just don't know how much the Packers would even be interested in him, I think would be the actual question. So I don't know if Rasul's high up on my radar, but I do like Charvarius Ward. I do. As far as the free agents go, I feel like that's a guy that would probably fit in well defensively here in Green Bay. Mm-hmm. And, we'll see, though. Hopefully we can hit both in free agency and in the draft at corner. But like when you're talking with center, man, that's when I really got my eye on, because we're going to know, right? We're going to know based on how they they act in free agency and the draft if they truly believe the center of the future is already on the team, right?
Right. I was trying to pull up center real quick if we can differentiate, and then we'll wrap up with this because Jen here, obviously, thank you, Jen. Would Douglas even want to come back? Appreciate that question. Then you got right here. Andy Watkins says 9 million per. He said, man, 9 million per. Right.
Yeah.
It sounds high, right? I could be completely off my rocker. Let me go look real quick at the contracts. Let's get it on the screen for you.
Because that would be crazy, right? That'd be crazy to trade Jaire and then bring in a $9 million a year corner.
Well, I think he was talking about center, I believe.
Oh, at center. Okay.
Yeah, I think if I understand, I could be wrong there. I think that's what he's talking about. Here are let's see if we can go by cap hit. All signed years. Yeah, this is probably not what I'm looking for. I was trying to find cap hit for the centers. Because I think this is let's see here. See what we got here. Average value. Where's your cap at? They don't have a cap. They just got overall value. We can go average salary. That's fairly close. That's kind of the cap number you need to hit, barring the guaranteed money, right? Creed Humphrey, he got that new deal. He's getting paid $18 million on average. Okay. Frank Ragnow, 13.5. Ryan Kelly, 12.5. Lloyd Cushenberry, 12.5. Eric McCoy, 12 million. Tyler Biadaz, I think that's how you say it, 9.7. Austin Corbett, 8.7. So keep in mind, guys, these contracts, like the Frank Ragnow one, said it started in 2021. So I don't know if they're just kind of grouping the extension in there or not. But the most recent one, Creed Humphrey, the new market is set at 18 million. Now, obviously, none of us here, me or Tim, are saying Josh Myers is worth the top of the market, right? But the market is what it is. The market doesn't care what you think. The market has been reestablished. That doesn't mean Josh Myers should get Creed Humphrey money. But what it does mean is whatever that number was before, say it was somewhere at a Connor McGovern's level, right? If the market is willing to pay Josh Myers like he's a top 10 center because, one, he comes from a team that always has good offensive line play in the Green Bay Packers. 2, he's an athletic freak, which we know that. That's why Goody fell in love with him like he typically does with the early round picks. They're probably going to treat him like a top 10 center hitting the market. So that's where you're getting in that range, somewhere between 6 to 12 million, right? I honestly think I wouldn't be surprised, right? I wouldn't be surprised if he gets that kind of money, okay? Because the market is what it is, and he's an athletic freak. So that's why I'm going. I would take Myers back at $3 million per. I would. I'd say, you know what, that's worth it. That's money well spent, right? You underpaid for a guy who's most of the time available, been very available, right? And it's a contract that you don't necessarily have to force him out there as a starter. You can find another one, and boy, that's a nice little backup plan. Who knows? Maybe he could play a little guard, right? So there you go. Just wanted to dip into it a little bit. That's what we were talking about or what I was talking about with the $9 million, right? If Goody pops up and pays him $9 million, I'm going to throw something against the wall. But Goody knows more about football than he's forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. So, all right, that's it, Tim. Anything else you got, bub? We'll get ready to wrap up.
No, other than I agree with that. I hope Goody doesn't do that. I don't think he will, right? The likelihood that he overpays is pretty small, right?
Right. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. And again, great dude. Teammates love him. Hard worker, all those things. I just we got to get better at center this year. And that's why I'm of the opinion, if you made me choose right now, hey, Clayton, based off what you see, both draft-wise and the free agent market, my option one would be, let's see if we can get Drew Dalman on a decent contract. Like, don't go crazy and overpay, right? Start with him day one of free agency and go, hey, here's what we're thinking, 4 years. Like Drew Dalman at 78.8 PFF grade, right? And we had to go watch the tape to confirm that grade. But let's say everything checked out and he was a 78.8. I'd be willing to pay him, $6 million per. And now you got the center it's taken care of. And you remember we were talking about what was the big problem against Philly? It was lack of depth at the interior offensive line. Well, guess what? Now you've got the center taken care of. You don't have to move Elton to center. You don't have to depend on Jacob Monk to play center. That's the other thing. If Jacob Monk was so damn good, and I know people are high on him, I want him to be good too. Why didn't he fill in at guard? Right? Was he even active? I think he was active, right? If I remember right.
I think so.
Yeah. So why didn't he fill in at guard if he's so good? Why did we have to go to Kadeem Telford? And then who was the other guy we brought in? We went Kadeem Telford. He crapped the bed.
Glover.
Glover might have went first, huh? Was it
Glover was first.
Yeah.
I think he got 8 snaps, and that was enough.
Yeah. So with that being said, if you go get Drew Dalman, let's say for $7 or $8 million per cap hit wise, right? And that first year, if that's the average, the first year is probably going to be around $5 million cap hit. Not bad at all, right? You get him on a 3 or a 4 year deal. You plug and play him at center. Well, guess what? Now you've still got depth at guard, right? It's almost like he plugs and plays. You're losing Myers. You will have Sean Ryan starting at right guard. Or it'll probably be Jordan Morgan starting at right guard, or they'll do the whole swing guard thing again. And whichever one isn't playing the majority of the snaps will be your backup guard for the other side. You see what I'm saying, Tim? So it's like that one signing is what really sticks out to me about free agency so far. There's none of the D tackles I'm crazy about because we need a dominant one. When you look at center Drew Dalman, if they don't re-sign him in Atlanta, that's the one that's sticking out to me. He's kind of becoming real quick, and we're only 3 positions in. But he's becoming my Xavier McKinney this year. Like, hey, let's go make that happen.
Yep.
We'll see, though. Tim, thank you for your time, buddy.
Thanks, Clay. We got a long way to go, right? It's going to be a hell of an offseason.
It's going to be fun. Everybody in the chat, thank y'all so much for being a part of the conversation. We'll see you tonight, 7 p.m. Central for PTA Live. We'll give you our updated information on the cheat sheet, the offseason cheat sheet for the incoming rookie cornerbacks. So we'll see y'all tonight. Have a great day.
And we go. We out.
We're out. Bye, guys.